Previously on Gearz.
Alone, right here on Gearz, Bulls Visual Radio. Time to talk a little bit of Formula One. Massive news that came out last night. Now, if you were paying attention early in January when we got back on air, there was quite a lot of speculation at one stage about a guy by the name of Paddy Lowe at McLaren. And there were big rumours because there was the big change at Mercedes, and Niki Lauda came in, and then Tom Wolfe came in, and everyone was saying, well, what about Ross Brawn? What's happening with Ross Brawn? And everyone has said, no, don't worry, Ross Brawn is in charge. Now, McLaren has replaced their technical director, Paddy Lowe, with Tim Goss. Now, Paddy Lowe still has a contract with McLaren until the end of the 2013 season. But the way that it works now is he will be put on something very, very commonly used term in Formula One. He goes on gardening leave. So basically, he can go and play in the garden. So he's going to get paid his monthly salary, but he won't work for McLaren. Because, and it isn't confirmed, but it looks very, very likely that Paddy Lowe will join McLaren at the end of his contract with, will join Mercedes at the end of his contract with McLaren, which is at the end of the season. So now, everyone's talking about, well, what's going to happen to Ross Brawn? So Ross Brawn looks like might be pushed out for Paddy Lowe. Ross Brawn will take another massive pay packet from Mercedes and then go fishing as opposed to gardening leave. Maybe he'll go back to Ferrari. You never know. That is the massive news that came out yesterday. Paddy Lowe is no longer at McLaren. Now just look at some of the people that McLaren have lost over the past couple of months and years. They lost people like Ayrton Senna. They lost people like Alain Prost. They've lost people like Mike Coughlin, but that was his own doing. Who went there? Mike Coughlin. They've lost Lewis Hamilton. Okay. Wow. They've lost a lot. So, it's, it's 50 years that they're celebrating that they've been in Formula One, and just looks very, very difficult for them. Although I still believe that they are going to be very difficult to beat come the first race of the season. I have a strong feeling about it as well. Also, more in terms of, people and their funny little, their rumor mill. As we know, Sergio Perez was the Mexican driver who's now driving for McLaren, and he raced for the Sauber team with huge backing by a company called Telmex. Now, Esteban Gutierrez is also Mexican, and he's now at Sauber. And he's now sitting and saying, hey. Telmex is the Mexican company headed by the billionaire Carlos Slim, but he is not putting me in the seat. I am there because I am with Sauber. My deal is with them. But Carlos Slim is, that's definitely not the picture of Carlos Slim, by the way, the picture I'm looking at. Carlos Slim is the richest man in the world. Okay, he's richer than Bill Gates. He's richer than Warren Buffett. He's richer than anybody else. Okay, and he's in Formula One. Real sport, by the way. So Carlos Slim, of course, big back at Telmex, still a big sponsor of Sauber as well, which I think is great because all of a sudden, I don't think ever in an era of Formula One have we had two Mexican drivers in the same season. So I think it's just terrific for what they're doing as well. So that's a look at the big story, of course, is Paddy Lowe leaving the McLaren stable, going on a little bit of gardening leave for a year or so. And I'm sure in the next couple of months it is going to be announced that he'll be joining, of course, the Mercedes team. Niki Lauda has insisted that the Lowe deal is not a threat to Ross Brawn. But Niki Lauda also, says a lot of things and then denies them a couple of days later. So not entirely sure, how to take Niki Lauda at this stage. Renault have unveiled their first V6 engine for the 2014 season. Of course, from 2014, it'll be a 1.6 litre turbocharged unit, very similar to the RCZ that I drove today. except a lot more powerful, Daisy. They won't have that problem in second gear. So Mercedes have done theirs, and Renault have done theirs. The only V6 we haven't seen a picture of so far is the Ferrari. And those are basically the only 3 engines that are going to be available at this stage for the 2014 season for all of the teams. And the thing about it is, a team like McLaren from next year will have to buy that engine, not be given it. So McLaren, imagine seeing a McLaren with a Ferrari engine in.
Phew.
Now that would be hysterical. Don't think it's going to happen, but it would be fun. The McLaren Ferrari. Don't forget, in 2009, it was a McLaren Ferrari in any case because of the whole, Ferrari gate thing. Anyway, so that's a quick look at what's happening in the world of Formula One. The big story, of course, Paddy Lowe will be going to Mercedes. Tim Goss is now has taken his position at McLaren. McLaren lose another vital cog in their armory, and I think are now going to have to start building in order to make sure that they get their team working perfectly.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
Beautiful.
Gearz with Sasha Martinengo on balls.co.za.